Here is something that happens to almost every person who tries growing sweet potatoes in a container for the first time. The vine looks incredible. It is lush, it is green, it is spreading across the entire patio like it owns the place. The plant looks healthy, it looks productive, it looks like something genuinely good is happening. And then, harvest day arrives. You reach into the soil with both hands, expecting to pull up a pile of beautiful tubers. And what you get instead are a few things roughly the size of your thumb, maybe 3 of them, maybe 4, after an entire summer of watering and watching and waiting. That moment is genuinely deflating. And the worst part is not even the small harvest. The worst part is not knowing what went wrong, because the plant looked fine the whole time. Here's the truth. Nothing went wrong with the plant. Everything went wrong with the setup around it. Sweet potatoes grown correctly in a single container can produce 8, 10, even 12 full-size tubers in one season, from one plant, in one pot, on one patio. That is not an exaggeration. That is what happens when 8 specific things are done right. This video covers all 8. And if you have tried container sweet potatoes before and walked away disappointed, at least one of these tips is the reason why. Let's start with the most important one.
Tip 1. Size and choose the right container. Of everything on this list, this single decision determines your harvest more than any other. More than the variety you choose, more than how much you water, more than anything else you do all season. Sweet potato tubers do not form on underground stems the way regular potatoes do. They grow outward from fibrous roots that extend in every direction from the buried base of the plant. Every inch of loose, warm, uncompacted soil below the surface is potential tuber space. Put that plant in a container that is too small, and those roots reach the walls within weeks. They have nowhere left to go. The plant keeps growing its vine above the soil because that is the only place it has room. And the tubers stay small because the roots ran out of space before they could develop. This is why the container decision comes first. For sweet potatoes, depth matters as much as width. You want a container that gives the roots room to grow both outward and downward, at least 12 inches deep, ideally more. The container that experienced growers come back to season after season is a large fabric grow bag. Not because it looks nice, because of what it does underground. Fabric breathes. That breathability prevents the roots from circling the walls the way they do in hard plastic or ceramic pots. Circling roots produce misshapen, stunted tubers. Roots that can push through breathable fabric walls keep expanding until they have nowhere left to go, which means more tubers, growing longer and straighter. Fabric bags also drain faster than hard containers. Sweet potatoes hate sitting in waterlogged soil. A fabric bag after heavy rain drains and dries in a fraction of the time a plastic pot does. If you are working with what you already have, a large plastic pot, a wooden barrel, an old bin, make sure it has multiple drainage holes in the bottom, and make sure it is as deep as possible. Whatever container you use, the rule is the same. Bigger and deeper always wins.
Tip 2. Build a soil mix that lets the tubers expand. Soil is the second decision that shapes your entire harvest, and it is the one most people get wrong without ever realizing it. Most people fill their container with bagged potting mix from the garden center. Standard potting mix holds moisture well and feeds other vegetables fine. For sweet potatoes, it causes 2 specific problems. The first problem is compaction. As you water through the season, potting mix slowly compacts under its own weight. The tubers trying to expand underground hit denser and denser resistance. They grow bent, they grow stubby, they grow misshapen. Not because the plant was struggling, because the soil would not move out of the way. The second problem is water retention. Standard potting mix holds moisture longer than sweet potatoes prefer. Sweet potatoes want soil that drains quickly and dries somewhat between waterings.
Heavy, moisture-retaining mix keeps the roots sitting in damp conditions that invite rot and reduce tuber quality. The soil blend that solves both problems, roughly equal parts potting mix and finished compost with a generous amount of perlite or coarse sand mixed through. The compost adds the nutrients the plant needs. The perlite and sand keep the whole mix loose and fast draining, so water moves through quickly and the tubers have soft, open soil to expand into as they grow through the season. When you fill your container with this mix, push your hand down into it. It should feel light and easy to move through. If it feels heavy or dense, add more perlite until it does not. That physical quality, loose, light, easy to push through, is what sweet potato roots need to do their best work.
Tip 3. Start with slips and grow your own for free. A lot of people put a whole sweet potato directly into their container thinking it will sprout and grow. It will sprout, but what happens next is the problem. A whole sweet potato dropped in a container sends up multiple shoots from multiple growth points all at the same time. Those shoots compete with each other for root space and nutrients in the same pot. Instead of one productive root system building tubers, you get 3 or 4 competing root systems, each getting a fraction of what one would have received alone. The result is a dense tangle of vines and a much smaller harvest than a single slip would have produced. The right way to start is with a slip, a single rooted sprout cut from a parent sweet potato. One slip means one root system. One root system means all the container's resources go to one productive plant with no competition pulling things in different directions. And growing slips yourself is easier than most people expect. Find a sweet potato from the grocery store, a farmer's market, or a garden center. Set it in a jar or glass of water with the bottom third submerged and the top 2/3 above the waterline. A few toothpicks pushed into the sides can hold it at the right level. Place the glass in a warm, sunny window. Within 2 to 3 weeks, green sprouts will appear from the upper part of the sweet potato. When those sprouts reach 4 to 6 inches long, gently twist them away from the potato. A slow, firm rotation breaks them off cleanly at the base. Drop the sprouts into a separate glass of water. Roots will appear within a week. Once the roots are an inch or 2 long, the slip is ready to plant. One sweet potato from the grocery store typically produces 6 to 10 slips. That is enough to fill several containers for the cost of a single potato. Tip 4. Do not feed the vine. This is the tip that explains the most common frustration in container sweet potato growing and the one that surprises people most when they hear it. A plant that looks spectacular above the soil while producing almost nothing below it is almost always a plant that has been fed too much nitrogen. Here is why that happens. Sweet potatoes respond to nitrogen by growing vine. Nitrogen is what the plant uses to build leaves and stems. When nitrogen is abundant in the container, the plant reads that as an instruction to keep expanding upward, to grow more foliage, more vine, more green growth. The tubers form when the plant shifts out of growth mode and starts storing energy underground instead. That shift happens naturally when the soil becomes slightly lean, when nutrients are limited enough that the plant stops expanding and starts stockpiling. A heavily fertilized container never triggers that shift. The plant stays in growth mode from the day you plant the slip until the frost kills the vine. You get an extraordinary-looking plant and almost nothing worth digging up. What to do instead? In the first 2 weeks after planting, a small amount of balanced fertilizer helps the slip establish. After that, stop. If you want to feed at all through the season, use something where phosphorus and potassium are higher than nitrogen. Those support root development rather than leaf and stem growth.
But the honest truth is that most container sweet potatoes, fed only by the compost in their starting soil mix, outperform plants that were fed regularly all season. The plant does not want more. It wants less. Give it less, and it gives you more.
Tip 5. Place the container in maximum heat. Sweet potatoes came from the tropics. They do not just tolerate heat, they require it. The warmer the growing environment, the faster the plant establishes, the more vigorously the vine grows, and, most importantly, the more consistently the tubers develop. Cool summers and shaded containers produce the smallest harvests. Warm, heat-soaked environments produce the best ones. The placement that makes the biggest difference, a south-facing wall or fence. A wall that faces south absorbs direct sunlight all day long. Through the afternoon and into the evening, it radiates that stored heat back out toward your container. The soil stays warmer through the night hours than it would in an open patio setting. Sweet potato roots stay active longer each day. And that extra warmth, compounded over weeks and months, translates directly into more tuber development. If a south-facing wall is not an option, choose the warmest, most sun-drenched spot available to you. 6 to 8 hours of direct sun is the minimum. More is better. Dark-colored containers absorb heat from sunlight and keep the root zone warmer than light-colored ones, which is exactly what this plant wants. For watering through the growing season, water deeply when you water, but do not water constantly. Let the top few inches of soil dry out between waterings. Sweet potatoes tolerate dry conditions far better than most gardeners expect. And consistent wetness around the roots causes far more problems than occasional dryness does.
Tip 6. Train the vines intentionally. Most people growing sweet potatoes in containers for the first time are not prepared for the vines. Within a few weeks of planting, the vine starts moving. It spreads off the container edge onto the ground. It finds neighboring pots and climbs into them. It crawls along the patio surface in every direction. By midsummer in a warm climate, a single sweet potato plant can send vines 10 feet or more from the container. Left completely unmanaged, the vines take over the growing space, sit on moist ground and develop fungal issues, and make watering, checking, and harvesting significantly harder than it needs to be. The solution takes about 2 minutes a week. Every few days, loop the vines back toward the container. Wrap them around the rim. Drape them back over the edge and down the outside of the pot. Keep everything centered on the container it came from. This does several things at once. It keeps your growing space manageable. It keeps the leaves off the ground, which improves airflow and reduces the fungal problems that ground-resting foliage invites. And it makes the whole plant easier to check, easier to water, and easier to harvest when the time comes. There is also a production benefit to vine training that most people never discover. Anywhere a vine node, the small raised joint on the stem where a leaf grows, makes contact with moist soil, it can develop its own fibrous roots. And fibrous roots are where tubers develop. More roots mean more potential tubers. The vine you were going to manage anyway becomes an active part of the harvest.
Tip 7. Know exactly when to harvest. Sweet potatoes are ready somewhere between 90 and 120 days, depending on the variety and the season, and that range alone is one of the least useful pieces of information in home gardening. 90 to 120 days covers a full month of variation. Harvesting too early gives you underdeveloped tubers that will never improve in storage. Harvesting too late, after soil temperatures drop below 55 degrees Fahrenheit, causes damage inside the roots that is completely invisible on the outside. The skin looks fine, the potato looks fine, but when you cut it open, the flesh is discolored, the flavor is off, and the shelf life is a fraction of what a properly timed harvest produces. The calendar is a rough guide. The plant is the precise one. Here is what to watch for as the season moves toward fall. The vine slows down. The explosive growth that defined summer gradually pulls back. New leaves stop appearing as quickly. The vine tips look less vigorous. This is the plant beginning to redirect energy downward. The older leaves begin to yellow. This is not a problem, it is a signal. The plant is pulling resources from the oldest foliage and sending them into the tubers below the soil. When both of those things are happening together, slower vine growth and yellowing older leaves, it is time to look below the surface. Push aside a small amount of soil at the edge of the container with your fingers. You are looking for tuber shoulders, the curved, rounded ends of the developing sweet potatoes pressing against the container wall or visible just below the surface. If you can feel them clearly and they feel firm and full, your harvest window has arrived. Harvest before the first frost, not after. The cold does not finish the ripening process, it undoes it.
Tip 8. Cure every sweet potato before you eat a single one. This is the step that turns a good harvest into a great one. It is also the step most people skip because nobody tells them it exists until after they have already eaten a sweet potato straight from the ground and assumed that is what they taste like. It is not what they taste like. A freshly harvested sweet potato is full of starch. It tastes okay, maybe even good, but it has not become what it's going to be yet. During curing, a period of 10 to 14 days in a warm, humid environment, enzymes inside the sweet potato convert that starch into sugar. The same potato you dug up on Saturday tastes noticeably sweeter, richer, and more complex by the following Saturday. By the Saturday after that, even better. Curing also does something structural. Any small cuts, scrapes, or nicks from digging seal over during the curing period. The skin toughens and the potato becomes significantly more resistant to rot and dehydration in storage. An uncured sweet potato kept at room temperature might last 2 to 3 weeks before it starts to soften. A properly cured sweet potato stored in a cool, dry, dark place lasts 4 to 6 months, sometimes longer. To cure them at home, find the warmest spot in your house, somewhere between 80 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit with some natural humidity. Near a water heater, in a warm utility room, on top of the refrigerator where heat collects. Any consistently warm spot works. Lay the sweet potatoes out in a single layer so they're not touching each other. Leave them there for 10 to 14 days. Do not wash them first. Do not refrigerate them at any point. Cold temperatures damage sweet potatoes from the inside out. Everything below 55 degrees causes the same kind of internal breakdown as a late frost does in the garden. After curing, move them to a cool, dry, dark cabinet or shelf, not the refrigerator, never the refrigerator. Room temperature storage is what they want. Cure them right, and the harvest you pulled from one container will still be feeding you on a cold night in January.
Get all 8 tips right this season, and you'll be amazed by what one container can produce. Comment your harvest below and tell us which tip helped most. Subscribe for more gardening tips every week.